to do an English accent. On today's show, we take a look at Nevada's updated COVID-19 case positivity rate.
We also take a look at the transition from distance learning to traditional in-person classes. Studio G starts right now.
Welcome back to Studio G. I'm Katora Thomas.
And I'm Jasmine Nguyen. Thank you for joining us.
It is such a beautiful day out today.
It's nice. It's getting hot.
It is, and thank God.
I enjoy it. I'm not really a cold person.
I know, it's unfortunate that we're wearing sweaters today.
I know. Breaking this morning, North Las Vegas Mayor John Lee announced that he would be leaving the Democratic Party to become a Republican.
In a televised interview with Fox and Friends, Mayor Lee said the Democratic Party is no longer the working class. He mentions, quote, "The working class and working men and women of this country, and also the small business owners, are not a part of the conversation anymore."
The mayor says that it is not the agenda that he has planned for the future.
Has your wallet been feeling a little light lately? Well, that could be because of unhealthy shopping habits or the fact that you haven't gotten a tax refund. The IRS has recently announced that there is an estimated 1.3 million taxpayers who have not yet filed a 2017 1040 federal income tax return form. In most cases, the law allows a 3 window to claim unfiled taxes. Of those 1.3 million, 15,500 are Nevadans. The total dollar amount of unclaimed 2017 tax money here in Nevada is at an estimated at just over 15 million. Over the weekend, a Florida wastewater pond began to leak, causing a serious threat to locals. The pond contains toxic waste that can negatively affect the surrounding ecosystems and ocean water if contaminated. Although the leaks have been contaminated on site, the leaks have not been fixed, and the pond structure could collapse at any time. Hundreds of residents have been evacuated, along with inmates at the Manatee County Jail in case of flooding. Officials are removing up to 35 million gallons of water a day. The water has been tested and is not radioactive.
Despite the percentage of people getting vaccinated statewide, more than 180 new positive COVID-19 cases have emerged. Statewide, we have 305,357 cases of COVID. Out of those cases, 5,275 people have died. Starting yesterday, April 5th, everyone 18 and older are eligible to make appointments for their vaccination on the UNLV campus. There is free parking in the front of the SU, and appointments are taking no longer than an hour from arrival. To make an appointment, register online at www.unlv.edu/coronavirus/vaccine.
President Whitfield announced the transition to in-person classes here at UNLV starting fall of 2021. And in-person services reopening on July 1st. Studio G reporter Ariel Mack has more on this story.
A week ago, UNLV's President Keith Whitfield announced the transition of classes to in-person starting fall 2021. Whitfield stated in an announcement, registration for fall classes open April 12th, and we are planning for a majority of fall courses to be in person. As the message states, Whitfield plans to make gradual transitions for in-person services starting July 1st. ASU student Emily Trantina is also experiencing similar difficulties as they transition back to in-person classes from a year of virtual learning.
My overall feelings with in-person classes compared to online classes are that in-person obviously is better. But having to be online for this past year and then having to transition back to in-person, it's going to be weird. we're still gonna have to wear masks. We're still gonna have to be social distanced a little bit, but I'm excited. I really want to go back to school, and I want to be with my friends who are in the same major I am. I kind of just feel lonely right now doing online classes by myself in my room. So having other people who are going through the exact same thing that I'm going through in the same classes I'm taking is gonna be really exciting, and I'm so excited to go back to school.
With the recent hardships going from in-person to online, similar feelings are occurring with the transition back from online to in-person. The CDC updated guidelines for schools and universities to follow to continue decreasing the spread of COVID-19. These include correct using of masks, social distancing, hand washing techniques, and cleaning and sanitation with facilities. Reporting for Studio G, I'm Ariel Mack.
The next semester is going to be so lucky. It's too bad we can't experience that.
No, because we're graduating.
We're graduating, and you know, I am going to miss that Taco Bell being open.
Not me. Can't relate.
Coming up after the break, we take a look at the new Hunter Theater, and Ariel lets us know the week's weather forecast.
We also hear from UNLV's coach Orayo on the upcoming football season. Don't go anywhere. Studio G returns in just a moment.
If you go to a waiting room for the cancer clinic at Children's, every parent is wondering, will that next breakthrough happen in time to save my child? We have the knowledge, we have the insights from decades of research. We may be able to cure cancer with no worse side effects than feeling like you have a cold for a couple days. It's not a question of if we're going to be able to do this, it's just a matter of when. The quality of the medical care at Seattle Children's Hospital and the depth and breadth of the research community here will impact the well-being of children throughout the world.
Seattle Children's is working relentlessly to improve treatments for more than 200 diseases and conditions. And as one of the nation's top children's hospitals, we're not just beating the odds, we're changing them for all kidkind. Find a clinical trial that could change everything at seattlechildrens.org/clinical trials.
Good morning, UNLV. My name is Ariel Mack, and I'm here for today's weather. Awesome. So we're starting out this morning with a nice 70 degrees. It is very sunny today with a high of 79 and a low of 54. We get those winds from the Northeast Valley at 10 miles per hour. Let's see what we're looking forward to tonight. We have 72 degrees, kind of still pretty nice for that Vegas weather. Clear skies, a low of 63, and still a little bit of windy with that 9 miles per hour. Awesome. So we're looking through the Valley, Centennial at 70, looking at a mid 72s for North Las Vegas, right where we are, and Southern Highlands and Summerlin going to be a little bit chillier with that 69 degrees. Moving on throughout the Valley, Boulder City, it's going to be probably the coldest throughout this whole day today, and Henderson at 72. Looking at our 5-day forecast for you today, Thursday, and it looks like throughout the rest of the week it's also going to be sunny. Welcome to Vegas at an 88, mid 82, 80 as well, and then finishing off that week at 88 and 86 degrees. Those lows are still going to be kind of a little bit warmer, but hoping for a little bit of nice cooler weather throughout the week. And then that is your weather, and back to Jasmine at the desk.
A once major performance venue is getting a new lease on life after being closed for nearly 2 decades. Studio G reporter Devin Verissimo has a story on what's next to come for one of the Las Vegas's historical landmarks.
After being closed for more than 15 years, the beloved Huntridge Theater will get a $10 million upgrade and a new opportunity to entertain guests here in Las Vegas.
Built on the corner of Charleston Boulevard and Maryland Parkway during World War II, the Huntridge Theater started out showing movies before becoming one of the most prominent venues for stage performances and live concerts in the Vegas Valley. It is also said the Huntridge was the first non-segregated theater in Las Vegas. Acts like Sublime, No Doubt, and the Red Hot Chili Peppers took the Huntridge stage during its peak in the 90s, but one of the most recognizable shows to take place there was when the Beastie Boys headlined the $2 Bill Show on MTV in 2004, just 2 months before its closure. Since then, the building has deteriorated and been torn apart by the local homeless population, while legal battles between owners and the city were waged in court in an effort to preserve the nationally and state recognized historical landmark. Now, after almost all hope was lost, the Huntridge is now in the hands of G Apr, who will spend the next 3 years reviving the theater and connected retail space. With the country finally getting back to its previous form before the pandemic, the return of the theater will be a welcome sight to those who already love the bustling downtown scene.
Downtown Las Vegas has been on the uptrend in recent years, and now with the Huntridge being returned to its proper form, there's no doubt that Las Vegas has even more to offer than just what's on the boulevard. For Studio G, I'm Devin Verissimo.
The new owners are currently looking for innovative and exciting partners to accompany the relaunch of the Huntridge, and we are more than ready to see the nearly 80-year-old theater alive and well again.
Don't go anywhere. One of our reporters sits down with the coach and talks about the upcoming football season.
If you go to a waiting room for the cancer clinic at Children's, every parent is wondering, will that next breakthrough happen in time to save my child? We have the knowledge, we have the insights from decades of research. We may be able to cure cancer with no worse side effects than feeling like you have a cold for a couple days. It's not a question of if we're going to be able to do this, it's just a matter of when. The quality of the medical care at Seattle Children's Hospital and the depth and breadth of the research community here will impact the well-being of children throughout the world.
Seattle Children's is working relentlessly to improve treatments for more than 200 diseases and conditions. And as one of the nation's top children's hospitals, we're not just beating the odds, we're changing them for all kid kind. Find a clinical trial that could change everything at seattlechildrens.org/clinical trials.
Football is officially back for UNLV, and last week the team had their first 3 practices in the first Marcus Arroyo era.
Studio G reporter Jerron Turner had the chance to sit down with Coach Arroyo and talk about football.
All right, Coach, first question. I know, was it last year, 2020, crazy season with the pandemic and everything? It was your first season. What were the biggest takeaways from 2020?
I think it was probably the preparation in dealing with adversity. That falls solely really on your foundation. I think we found that out. I say that specifically probably to me, myself, just because, I'm looking at it intrinsically. I think you're just so thankful for staying steadfast in our belief and understanding that laying the foundation early in this process is something that for us, means never panicking and doing the right stuff and never flinching in adversity and trusting your upbringing and education and study and championship habits to lay the groundwork for something that's never been done. I mean, I think that piece of, to me, looking back on it now, where we're at today and what we got through and how we deal with things now and how we deal with each other, really was probably a huge takeaway. I think our guys, the more and more they understand, I don't think it's any different from any human. I think no one cares what you know until they know you care. And our guys, I saw some fight in our guys that we really liked. They pulled together. They were accepting that we had a real gut check and to eliminate their ego and humble ourselves and to build something with effort and toughness and commitment and discipline and pride. I think takes us pulling back and getting real with each other. So it was awesome.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, obviously last year, the biggest 2020 thing was COVID-19. So how did that affect your ability to prepare for games and practice last year? And do you still face some of those challenges right now this spring?
Yeah, I mean, COVID affected our ability to prepare exponentially. But that shock to the system was no different than the rest of the country in every aspect. I mean, traditional operation and preparatory routines all changed because of time or people or space or calendar and et cetera. I think nearly every operational modality we're used to as a program and a system was jeopardized and had to be changed. And that's a challenge in your first year as a coach, a challenge your first year as a group. And I think since January, we've had some of the lingering effects, no different than everybody else, but definitely has improved to a more traditional form in the last few months, which we've been excited about. So in-person, regular schedule, and had our first practice, our first spring ball of our program in 15 months here yesterday.
There have been rumors, there have been talks of guys leaving the program like Randall Grimes, Justice all the way. I'm sorry if I mispronounced his last name, but guys like that who've been influential, they're leaving the program. But there are also guys coming in. So let's start. The guys leaving, do they hurt the program, or does the train keep on rolling?
No, I think attrition during change is par for any place. I think, especially in such a drastic change, when you have certain demands and habits and expectations and standards that are so different. I think that's going to happen anywhere. I think, obviously, you never want to lose any good players, but at the end of the day, you've got to be able to put a price on those demands and habits and standards that you want to build, that win championships. And so, if those aren't there, and you give the opportunities for certain people to change or to adapt, and they're not willing to do that or can't do it, again, those things just happen. I think the inverse to that piece that a lot of people miss is that we may have left out is what players have you added? I think that's a lot of times, hey, you're losing a lot of players. Well, yeah, but look at the other side of it. We've added the program. I mean, come June, we've added the two biggest recruiting classes in the history of UNLV football, and best classes, arguably 1 and 2 in the conference. And so when you put that spin on it instead of half empty, I think is when you start to really add value to a roster and understand the roster management component. So I think with the proper time, those are things that have changed the program significantly. I think there's obviously there's somewhat of a misconception that sometimes that attrition is almost a doomsday. In reality, when you set new standards and expectations, those things happen. That's part of it. Been at every level. You'd let a new head coach walk into an NFL place and NFL program that we've all been here in this building seen, and you're going to make some changes, some veterans. You're like, wow, you're really going to make that change? Well, it's just different. So I'm excited about the guys we've got that are here around right now. We look, these guys have got a whole new way about themselves, and it's exciting to see, man.
Who are your most valuable returners?
Well, I think on defense, you're excited to get Jacoby back, like I mentioned. You move into an inside linebacker spot as we evaluated the defense and move things around and get him in a more sophisticated role where he can probably have as much production, if not more, in the defense holistically. You got Plant on the other end. You got Aaron Lewis. You got transfers, Kylan Wilborn. You got Connor Murphy. You got Mikey Victor, Tavis at defensive line, also doing a heck of a job. Bell and Scott as 2 young outside linebackers. A really young secondary with Ricky and Tyson. And Noel Williams, all true freshmen again. I mean, pretty exciting group there on defense, and obviously on offense with Kyle Williams coming back, with Leaf at center, Gio at tight end, Clayton Bradley coming back as a super senior, like I mentioned. You add Jordan Jakes, Javon Wilson, Brandon Logan, and Doug coming back, and let alone Justin being healthier and Cam Friel's a freshman. I mean, you get excited. I mean, those things I think, and then on special teams is obviously with Rex coming back and Butt and Gutierrez. I mean, you're hoping that as we've assessed it and those guys got some time in that COVID year that you get some really, really positive production out of those guys who've seen some live action in the system.
Coach, thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to talk to me for Studio G and everything. I really appreciate it, Coach. I'm going to let you go get back to your daily life, but really appreciate it.
Man. Ball. Appreciate you, John. Appreciate it, man.
All right. Thank you, sir. Studio G.
If you go to a waiting room for the cancer clinic at Children's, every parent is wondering, will that next breakthrough happen in time to save my child? We have the knowledge, we have the insights from decades of research. We may be able to cure cancer with no worse side effects than feeling like you have a cold for a couple days. It's not a question of if we're going to be able to do this, it's just a matter of when. The quality of the medical care at Seattle Children's Hospital and the depth and breadth of the research community here will impact the well-being of children throughout the world.
Seattle Children's is working relentlessly to improve treatments for more than 200 diseases and conditions. And as one of the nation's top children's hospitals, we're not just beating the odds, we're changing them for all kid kind. Find a clinical trial that could change everything at seattlechildrens.org/clinical trials.
Now in Rebel Athletic news, the Rebel football team returned to the field yesterday for their first session of spring practice. The Rebels did not win a single game this past season, so any chance to get back to work and improve as a team is a step in the right direction. In basketball news, junior Bryce Hamilton has decided to enter into the NBA draft process, but will not hire an agent so he can remain eligible to continue his collegiate career in case he decides to return to UNLV. The softball team's 3-game series against San Jose has been canceled this weekend due to COVID concerns within the Spartan program.
The baseball team, on the other hand, will play host for Fresno State for its 3-game homestand. Rebels will have to win all 3 to stay within reach of San Diego State, who are also at home against New Mexico. Finally, the last week's Raising Cane's Outstanding Player of the Week, Ariana Reyes, will be on display for the women's soccer team as they host the Aztecs of San Diego State Saturday night. Be sure to check back with us next Tuesday to see for the results from the weekend. Go Fight Win.
It's time to look at what's trending today, Tuesday, April 6th. International Asexuality Day is trending. Although Asexual Awareness Week has been happening for more than a decade, today is the first time a specific day is being used to celebrate those in the ace community. Also trending is Paul Rudd, the Marvel actor, turns 52 today, but that's not why he's trending. Fans and celebrities, including co-star Mark Ruffalo, are poking fun at the fact that he seems to have eternal youth. Paul Rudd does not have any social media accounts, so let's hope that someone shows him the funny post. And lastly, trending today is the hashtag #IStandWithRay Fisher. The Justice League star tweeted out this morning a response to an article published in The Hollywood Reporter that talks about the actor dealing with racist behavior and inappropriate conduct while filming Justice League, saying they didn't want an angry black man. They ended up with a motivated one. I'm not going anywhere. Accountability over entertainment. This is not the first time Fisher's called out the Warner Media Group on Twitter, and sounds like it won't be his last. To read the article yourself, visit HollywoodReporter.com, and that's what's trending. Marvel Entertainment released the official Loki trailer yesterday, and Marvel fans got excited.
This is the newest series in Phase 4 of the Marvel Universe, and Black Widow is to follow.
I love the Marvel movies, and one day I'm gonna sit down and do them all like in order, but I don't have the time as a student.
No, it's a lot of movies, but it's worth it. I'm telling you, you should do it.
Which is your favorite one?
I love all the Iron Man movies. I'm like so basic, but honestly, the last Avengers movie is my favorite.
I think I really love Guardians of the Galaxy.
It's a nice movie.
It is.
That's all we have for today. Be sure to join us tomorrow at noon. I'm Jasmine Nguyen.
And I'm Katora Thomas. Thank you for watching. We'll see you here tomorrow.